Literally just base map upload. There you go. Hello, welcome back to HunterTuned. Today I'm working on the exhaust on the CRV. I got a lot of it done and welded finally. So in the last video you guys saw that I was trying to make the downpipe and I just had it kind of tacked together. I removed it and I got all the joints fully welded up. So I am getting a little better at MIG welding. There's a couple streaks in here where I was doing pretty good. Other spots, not so much. But, you know, that's kind of how it goes with welding exhaust. There's angles and you got to walk around the pipe and sometimes it's a little tricky to keep it consistent. But nonetheless, I won't have any leaks. I'm pretty sure of that. I was just double checking all the welds here and making sure that nothing is gonna be leaking. And I gobbed it on pretty heavy in some spots, just making sure that I was covering all the gaps possible. I also got my O2 sensor bung welded in a good spot where I kind of marked it with some chalk just to know that I would have room in order to fit the O2 sensor without hitting anything. And then I also removed the catback exhaust off of the car and I welded on a 3-inch piece of chunk onto it and then adapted it down to a 2.5-inch flex joint, so we have a flex in the exhaust. Because on front wheel drive cars the motor will torque and it'll tug on the exhaust, and sometimes when you don't have these, if you run a full exhaust on a turbo car, the manifolds can crack easier and a whole mess of other issues. So anyways, I did get all this done too. Whew. So I have to put this on the car and kind of figure out where I'm going to put this on the car and figure out kind of where I'm going to cut it in order to manipulate the exhaust to fit under the drive shaft. I put the drive shaft on the car already this morning, so that is back installed. And now I can kind of work the exhaust around the drive shaft now that it's installed. So that's my plan, but I got to get the downpipe back on. And then I have to go get a 3-inch band clamp. I'm going to use a band clamp to connect the downpipe to the catback here. Just one of them clamps that goes around the pipe. I call them over clamps, band clamp, whatever you want to call it. 3-inch band clamp's going to connect the two pieces. All right, guys, I just got back from the parts store and I got a band clamp put onto the exhaust here to connect the two pieces of from the downpipe to the rest of the catback here. And then the flex joint is right here. So now this is just running back to this factory location hanger, and I cut the exhaust right here before the viscous coupler because normally the exhaust went right under the viscous. So I'm going to try to take the rest of the catback exhaust here and manipulate it somehow in order to make it fit without hitting the drive shaft. So that's my next goal, but I have to go get some damn saw blades. I was just out, now I have to leave again. This is kind of what sucks with working on stuff, is you forget what you needed or whatever. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been there before. But anyways, this stainless catback exhaust really chews up Sawzall blades. You got to cut really slow when you cut stainless, because when the stainless gets hot, like if you cut too fast, the stainless will get hot and then it will literally just harden and then the blade will just get chewed immediately. So you have to cut stainless very slow. It's a tedious little process, but nonetheless, we will figure it out and we'll get this exhaust working and run it back. I also got an oil pressure gauge from O'Reilly's. Just bought their like $20 mechanical oil pressure gauge here. So I'm going to be putting that onto the back of the T on the back of the block where I have the feed line coming off of. I also want to run that oil pressure gauge so we can get a oil pressure reading on this thing when we start it up. And just so we have peace of mind for oil pressure, to know that the turbo is getting oil and all that. And then I'm also debating whether I want to run the dump tube just like straight down to the ground. That would probably be easiest, and that's probably what I'll end up doing. But I've never actually had a car where it was integrated into the exhaust. I don't think I'm going to do that, but maybe at a later date I might just integrate the wastegate into the downpipe here. All right, guys, more progress on the exhaust here. So what I did is I took the old catback, like I was telling you guys, and I actually cut it right in this spot right here. So like right after this flange, I just chopped it, and then I just kind of twisted it, repositioned it a little bit so it would clear under the drive shaft here. I can stick my hand in here, so I think we're good. If I push up on the exhaust, I really have to put a lot of pressure on it to even get it close to hit the drive shaft. So I think this will work. It is close, but it's really the only option I really had. Because like I said, I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of new pipe and stuff like that. So, and if we had issues with it, we can always take this hanger right here and re-weld it so this comes down a little bit lower. Good thing about having that flex section there is it will allow some give in the exhaust here. So like I said, all I did was cut there, reposition it, and then I tacked it back into place, and then I had to move the hanger that is back here. So there's a hanger that mounts right above the lower control arm in the rear. So I had to modify this hanger and position it into a different spot as well to bring this up so it wasn't like dragging on the exhaust, or not the exhaust, the axle back here. So now I just have to make a tailpipe for it, but I don't have any pipe here to make a tailpipe, which sucks. So I'll have to get something tomorrow or whatever, and then I'll use the factory hangers over here and cut the hangers off of the muffler that is back here.
Why won't this work?
It's 2 1/4.
Yeah, and that fits inside there. Just cut this end off, slide that in there, burn it together, use this. That's what I would do. Or you can take this piece and have that on that side.
Oh, I have to return that actually, because I don't think I'll be utilizing that. I also picked up a bunch of exhaust piping to make the intercooler piping on the hot side. So I think this will, damn it. We might go run and get a tailpipe quick. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so we got the exhaust finished. We ended up just using one of the pipes we had laying around. It's a little bit smaller than the catback, but honestly, it's a full exhaust. It's gonna be restricted a little bit no matter what. So I feel like this little straight piece of pipe that I put in here isn't gonna be the end of the world. And it saves me a couple bucks from having to go buy any other pieces of pipe. So we did cut the muffler tip off of the muffler there, and we actually welded it into this piece of pipe here, so it'll actually have an exhaust tip on it, which will be kind of nice. So now we got all the hangers welded, everything is fully, completely welded on. So now we're just gonna throw it back on the car for the final time, and if we do have issues with it, we can always change it later. I may do a custom 3-inch exhaust on this thing eventually, but for now, I just wanna get a full exhaust on it because I don't wanna run open downpipe for once. All right, guys, we got the exhaust bolted on. It is in there like swimwear. The tailpipe's looking pretty mint, like factory. And the exhaust actually doesn't hang low at all. We actually have the car lowered down to the point where it would be at ride height. And if we look under it, we have plenty of ground clearance with the exhaust. So I'm not worried about that at all. So that is awesome. So we were gonna work on doing the intercooler pipe on the hot side, and I got started on it. Like I said, we're building it out of exhaust because I got to be able to weld some crazy bends to be able to sneak that piece of pipe through there. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a 2-inch piece of pipe off the turbo, which is the size of the turbo outlet. So it's just this 2-inch 90 here. I'll probably just weld a bead around the outside of this so the coupler doesn't slip off. And then it has to do like a really crazy freaking bend. So I got this 2.5-inch piece of pipe to accommodate the crazy bend. It'll still have the surface area inside of 2 inches. So it won't really lose any flow that way. But like I said, it's not gonna be the prettiest fucking bend in the world, but it is a crazy looking bend here. I had to like notch this pipe out, and then we have a gap up top that I have to fill in, but it'll work. Nonetheless, but I ran out of freaking welding wire. I just freaking filled the gas yesterday, and now I got to go back tomorrow to get more wire. So we've just been welding a lot. And, you know, I go through wire every like 6 months, the big ass roll of it. So, yeah. Anyways, the intercooler piping is put on hold for now till tomorrow, till I can go get some freaking wire for that thing. So I'm actually going to be putting the intake manifold on and actually bolting it down and installing that oil pressure gauge. And Christian is over here freaking de-painting my letters on the valve cover.
De-painting, huh?
De-painting.
We're gonna make some ASMR, but
yeah, we could do an ASMR video of Christian just doing this. So yeah, actually Christian's doing a very good job of this. I'm actually kind of impressed with you.
yeah, Hunter's like, oh, you're gonna nick it up. And I was like,
I said,
nah.
okay, the reason I don't do nice stuff and the reason I don't like go through the time to paint valve covers is doing something like this where you got to get the lettering off and you can actually, I just like it like this better where you can see the letters, you know,
right
on silver. I'll always end up fucking something up. Or like installing the valve cover, taking the engine in and out, I'll nick the paint or something and I'll be like, I'm never doing this again.
I have a pro tip here. So if you have like a thicker paint and it's a latex based paint, using a putty knife to like scrape, you get in here and hold it flat with some pressure, then you scrape the letters off, the paint will come right off, and then you just got to touch it up. Like
with sandpaper. Yeah.
Like this is the only piece of sandpaper I've used. And I started off before I grabbed the putty knife with that much, and this is all I've used.
Right.
To do all of those. So
sweet. Well, it looks really nice, dude.
I'll go hit her with some, this is 320 grit. I think I'm gonna hit her with some 400. Hit her with some 700, 1000, 2200, wet sand it, mirror finish.
Fuck that. We ain't getting that in depth.
Why?
I mean, you can if you really want. So, yeah, exhaust is fully done.
Made in Canada.
Made in Canada. Now I'm going to scrape the gasket surface for the intake manifold, make sure that surface is really clean, and then I'm going to bolt the intake on with the new gasket for good. But before I do that, I'm actually going to do the oil pressure gauge because I can get at it easily with the intake manifold off, and I'm just going to do that before I put the intake on so it's easier to get at. Got the oil filter installed. Didn't pull a Roman. It's actually on and it's tight. Oil filter, good to go. I should throw this thing in the garbage. This freaking black box evap canister thing. I'm gonna throw this thing out. Ugh. ASMR video. Tightening bolts. Oh. Alright. Is she tight? Yes. Shh. We need another wrench. These ones are a 12mm. Some of them are 13. I think we need a better microphone to do this. But I'm trying my hardest, possibly. This will get all the views. Should I title it ASMR? ASMR videos are a hit. I'm gonna title it B20 Build ASMR. Great idea. There we go. Jesus Christ. Hey, you want the real noises? There you go.
Yeah, so Hunter and I go back and forth on Snapchat. He sends me a song, and then wherever he leaves off, I send him. And then I send me a new song, and then I send him the new song. Yeah? See, I've always known that song by the title Fly Away by Tim McGraw.
Yeah.
The song's actually called My Last Dollar.
Huh.
because he says one time in the song, well, I'm down to my last dollar. I've walked right through my shoes.
Just a small reminder
of the hell that I've been through.
But look at me still smiling.
I wonder what I'll do.
As if I ain't got nothing, I got nothing.
Everybody sing. Everybody sing. If you need any injectors, HunterTuned website.
Hey!
If you want a cool turbo like that, where can we find one?
I don't know.
It's probably in the garbage.
Hello, boys and girls. It's the next day. Alright, so currently we are wiring in some HunterTuned fuel injectors. Yeah, yellow and black goes to one side, the other color goes to the other side. It doesn't matter. An injector is just a solenoid, and you can power it or ground it to either side. So it does not matter what way you wire the injectors. Yeah, because you could put power or ground to either side of the injector, it's going to operate the same.
Do you have to wire them the same way, or can you like mix them up?
You can mix them up. It's not going to do anything, but it's good practice to do them the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know if you could like.
Right. I always wire them the same. Like if one goes to, you know, like I'm wiring all these, like the yellow and black are going to the closest side of where the release on the clip is. So where the release on the clip is, the wire that's closest to that is going to yellow and black on the Honda. And I'm going to do that on all of them.
Yeah, it's in my pocket, I think. Yeah.
And we installed the AEM fuel rail with just a stock fuel pressure regulator for now. And we put some RDX top hats on top of the fuel injectors, so you don't have to worry about you know, O-ring modifications and stuff like that. You can do it without the top hats, but I don't know, the top hats make life easier. So we got a set of top hats for it.
Okay, we've kind of just been plugging away at this thing today.
Yeah, there's a lot of little stuff that we had to do. Like I got the gauges wired. You can go show them that.
Yeah. So we got the AEM, and then this is just oil pressure from like the hardware store. And it's got it's a mechanical gauge, like we run. You had one of these in your red hatch, right?
Dude, I have one of those in every car. You just have to hook them up right, and they work really good.
Right.
Some people are really concerned about the oil going into the car, but YOLO.
Yeah, and then we got a little glow shift boost gauge. The hunter said that I could have and then stole it.
Hey, I didn't have one right now. Maybe I'll give it back.
Oh, we'll figure it out. Probably not.
What?
I said we'll figure it out. Probably not. Not that you won't give it back, but like, I don't know. I might get some cool ones. JDM Sport for the S10. Who knows?
JDM Sports are pretty legit, dude.
I like the one that you had in the hatch.
That was a JDM Sport.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
JDM Sports stepped their game up with the gauges, dude.
Yeah. And they're like, what, fucking $5? $10? Maybe?
12, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But
not fucking bad.
right. We got the throttle body on.
That was a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, Christian fucked up. Fuel line. Wiring.
One of the throttle body, like this intake manifold was from the junkyard, so like all the fucking threads and stuff were all like really crummy, so we had to like, yeah, the threads were a little messed up on the intake manifold where the throttle body bolts on. But we got her dialed.
Yeah.
And then we had to run like all these little hoses and stuff like that. We still got to make a little plug for the thermostat or the top.
Oh shit, yeah.
Radiator hose. We got to plug a little port down there. And then, yeah.
Yeah. But, so this thing, we're thinking, because it's all hooked up just here, is going to have power steering, cruise control, and spoolie boy.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty neat.
it's pretty neat.
Pert near.
What was that?
Pert near.
What's that mean?
We're pert near about to start this.
What's that mean?
You know, like damn near. Pert near.
Mr. Gumball says that. You know, we should send him over to Gumball's channel. Gumball's Reviews. It's a good idea.
Go check Gumball's reviews out.
Gumball's Reviews. Give him a subscribe. He hasn't uploaded in like 2 or 3 years.
Tell him we sent you.
Yep. He'll get the notification.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The wideband's hooked up.
Yeah, we ran the O2 sensor down there.
Down there. Yeah.
Not really in the filming mood right now, guys, so I'm sorry if I'm like a fucking bag of shit and this video sucks. But that's what happens. When I work on something, I fucking hate filming. I
Yeah.
just like to work on it and enjoy being in the moment, bro. It's good for your mental health. Don't worry about fucking filming my life. You fucking... Never mind.
When's this video coming out?
Probably tonight. Tomorrow morning.
Oh, dope.
Bye.
My birthday's in a couple days.
Oh, yeah. Pert near by the time they see this video, it'll probably be your birthday.
Right. I'll be 27.
No, you won't be.
This is true.
How old do you guys think Christian is?
Yeah, how old am I?
Leave it down in the shit box.
Yeah. Leave her down in the pooper down below, you know.
Down there, the pooper. Guys, it's pretty much all wrapped up. We got a lot of the work done on this thing. Just been thrashing, and we got all the intercooler pipes mounted on here. We got the throttle cable back on. We got the fuel line on with the new AEM fuel rail. We got a set of HunterTuned injectors installed. Those things are looking pretty slick sitting down in there with that AEM rail. Yeah, everything went on pretty good. We had a little leak on the fuel rail here, but that was no big deal. We fixed that, and one of the O2 sensors that I had laying around was bad. Speaking of which, where's that bad one?
I tossed it in the bucket.
Okay. Just throw it in the garbage, honestly. Because like, I always wonder what one's good or bad. Another issue that the car is having is this wastegate is not getting tight, so I'll have to modify the clamp a little bit. I've had to do this on a few of these little Speed Daddy gates to get them to clamp down all the way. It's just when the flanges are different. If you use the same flange, the one that came with the Speed Daddy gate, you won't have that issue, but the flange that comes on this manifold is just slightly different than the one that's on the wastegate. Christian showed you that we got the gauges installed. We got this thing topped off with coolant. And like I said, we got all the intercooler pipes on. I got this intercooler pipe on this side made. It's not very pretty, but neither is this whole intercooler and set up on here, so I'm not really too worried about it. It doesn't leak, and it will make power. So that's what we're after here, guys. Power on a budget. And this is a lot of stuff I had laying around besides the turbo and manifold and stuff like that. But the intercooler, the piping, all that stuff I had kind of already laying around. I still have to run the vacuum lines for like the blow-off valve and the wastegate. I think I already mentioned that, but just trying to catch you guys up. We got that little plug on the bottom of the upper hose down there. It's just a nipple that comes off of there that normally runs to something that we're not running. And yeah, we got the tires mounted back on this thing. All these clamps and shit I literally had laying in buckets. So we just used whatever we had laying around. These clamps are old and rusty, but hey, they tightened the frickin' we tightened a coupler down, I tell you what. And I'm also having an issue too where the oil return line is leaking where I welded it on the inside. So that's good.
What?
You can go down. Where I welded this bung, I welded it on the inside only. It is seeping out of here, which is funny because I did test it with water and it was fine when I tested it with water, but Now that I got oil in it, it is just seeping out of there ever so slightly. So
Yeah, you got a leaky bunghole.
I do. Other than that, everything looks good. We got this intercooler pipe made, doesn't touch anything. Everything is clamped down good. I had to fill a pretty good gap right here on there, but we vape tested her. She doesn't leak. And then that just wraps around. It's a pretty fucked up looking bend, but
Yeah.
it works. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. We're doing good, guys. This thing is really coming together. I'm super proud of this thing coming together. I mean, we've been working on it for a little while, but it's still like, I don't know, it wasn't that long. A couple days, and we took our time and did stuff the right way, I guess you could say.
What?
I guess you could say we did it the right way. Kinda.
Yeah. I guess. Thinking about it, yeah.
Kind of took our time and did a timing belt and head studs and everything. So anyways, guys, without further ado, I'm gonna start this thing up and show you how it runs and show you that we have like literally no exhaust leaks. The only leak on the whole car is that fucking oil return, because I welded it on the inside. I was gonna weld it on the outside, but it was really kind of tricky to get it to weld on the outside, so I didn't. I may just put some like silicone around it or JB Weld. Not exactly sure.
I still call mine, it was fine.
Right. All right, we'll put this thing down on the ground and fire it up. All right, so we loaded. I have a S300 in this car currently. I'm going to be switching it, and I'm going to be tuning it with the Honda Suite tuning software. It's like a new, kind of like a Chrome EC tune setup that I'm going to try out. I actually got reached out to by a bunch of people that said, hey, you should really try this new software stuff out. And I think I'm going to give it a shot on this car. Just can use a normal P28, but like I said, for now, I have it on the S300. I just threw a quick base map in it, and we'll fire it up.
This is literally just base map upload. There you go. I said this is literally just like base map upload.
Yeah, HunterTuned base map, not no off the shelf shit. HunterTuned base map makes it run, man. The timing belt is like perfect. Everything looks good over here. We got 75 pounds of oil pressure on our gauge that we installed, so that's good. The boost gauge is working, the wideband is working, the turbo is spinning. This thing's pretty quiet. Runs really good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to put it on corn. Get a little rub out of the tailpipe.
Yeah. And
it sounds way deeper with a turbo on it, because before it was raspy as fuck.
and it was wingy and
Yeah, wingy, raspy, whatever you want to call it. It sounded like dookie. And now it sounds good.
big fan.
What?
It sounds really good.
Yeah, I like it. The turbo lip made a little noise.
Yeah.
Check out the gauges.
Oh yeah. Now they're all lit.
They are lit, dude. Lit like a blonde tit.
Nose.
Nose.
Fucker sounds like an RV from up there. Just kidding. No, she stopped.
That's got to break in a little bit.
Mine never really like kept winging though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not a ball bearing.
Right.
Journal bearing. But yeah. All right, guys. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Leave a like for the CRV update and subscribe for more content. Leave a comment. Tell me to clean the fucking shop because it's getting dirty. I really got to clean in here. But now that I have this thing like done and movable, I can definitely clean in here. So, but there's still a lot to do on this thing. We have to run vacuum lines. I have to make a dump tube for the wastegate. And I also have to get a fuel pump in this car because I put big injectors in it, but it still has a stock fuel pump. So that'll be videos coming soon. I can't wait to test this thing out, guys, but I'm happy that it runs. That was a goal for today, to get it running. Oh, I also have to put a cooling fan on this thing because there's no fan currently on it. So that's another thing I got to add to the list. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. We'll see you later.
Make sure you cap your grounds.